Good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome and thank you all for joining me this morning. I'm excited to announce that I'm running for state representative of Pontiac and Auburn Hills in the November 8th special election. First, I want to thank Glenn Kopaski and Christian Marcillo for hosting us here at Future Health Designs. I'm also honored to be joined by a broad and diverse array of supporters, including Sandra Carter, who is the president of Pontiac's Cook Nelson American Legion Post Women's Auxiliary, Ann Doyle, who's an Auburn Hills City Councilwoman, Roland Elam, a Pontiac businessman and president of the Elam Community Service Agency, Dick Haynes, the president of Pontiac's Citizen District Council for District Number 3, Pastor James Keys, my good friend and pastor of Pontiac's Monument of Faith Missionary Baptist Church, Glenn Kopaski, whom I've already introduced, Tom McVicker, who is the president of Pontiac's Citizens District Council for District Number 4, Chester McFadden, who is the chair of the Auburn Hills Public Safety Committee, Otis Newkirk, an Auburn Hills City Councilman, Hubert Price, whom you just heard from, who's a former state representative. Thank you again for that wonderful introduction, Representative. Merrill Richardson, the vice president for Pontiac Citizens District Council for District Number 3. Warren Rogers, a Pontiac businessman and community activist. Kevin Thompson, a Pontiac resident and former land developer. Carol Turpin, the vice president of the Pontiac School Board. And Kyle Westberg, a Pontiac businessman and the chairperson of the Pontiac Regional Chamber. It's no accident that we chose Future Health Designs as the location for this announcement. The one thing that every Michigander has on his mind right now is jobs, and that's the primary focus of my campaign. Future Health Designs create software and cell phone apps, and that's exactly the kind of 21st century information-based industry that we need to attract to Michigan. Future Health Designs is also representative of the rebirth of downtown Pontiac, as it recently opened here as part of the Phoenix Rising Initiative. If the state is going to get serious about attracting and retaining small businesses like Future Health Designs, it needs to change its policy priorities. We need to preserve job-creating tax incentives, like our state's film tax credit, that benefits not only film production studios, like Raleigh Studios here in Pontiac, but also benefits a broad array of media companies, including software developers like Future Health Designs. Just as importantly, we need to invest in the quality of life that attracts and retains the talented, educated young people who are employed by new economy industries. There was a time when young people looked for a job first and then moved to whatever the region that job was located in. Now, more and more, young people first choose the region in the country where they want to live and then look for a job there. As a result, Southeast Michigan has been losing our best and brightest in what amounts to a massive brain drain that deprives our parents and grandparents of being close to their children and grandchildren and deprives our economy of the human capital it needs to succeed. Young people want to live in or near vibrant downtowns. They want to feel a sense of community, and they want to enjoy amenities like efficient mass transit. Based on these measures, one might expect us to lose young people to regions like Chicago and New York, but we're losing talented young people to places like Cleveland and Milwaukee. That is a real wake-up call, and we must invest more in our downtowns and in public transportation. The other key to our economic prosperity is rewarding work and keeping money in the hands of people who spend it. The legislature's recent ill-timed decision to cut people off of public assistance with our state's unemployment rate above 11% reinforces the need to protect Michigan's earned income tax credit that rewards and helps low-income families who are transitioning from welfare to work. Moreover, it is outrageous that the legislature recently chose to increase the burden on our seniors by taxing their hard-earned pensions. When elected, I pledge to work for the repeal of this new and unacceptable tax. Most important to the future of our economy is investing in education. The days when someone with less than a high school education could walk down the block and get a good-paying factory job are over. Today, virtually every good-paying job job requires education and training beyond high school, including in our critically important auto industry. That means that we need to increase our investment in both K through 12 and higher education. It is scandalous that the Pontiac and Avondale school districts receive state foundation allowances that are thousands of dollars less per pupil than our neighbors in Bloomfield Hills and Birmingham. The people of Pontiac and Auburn Hills know that all children have equal value, and it's time that the state knew that too. I will fight to make school funding more equal, not by bringing down well-funded districts, but by lifting up less funded ones. Just as importantly, it is long past time that Michigan invest in comprehensive, quality, early childhood education. The high-scope Perry preschool study has found that for every $1 invested in quality early childhood education for African Americans born into poverty, returns more than $16 to society as those children become successful adults who are less likely to end up on welfare or in prison. We know that early childhood education works and is cost-effective, and the time to implement it statewide is now. But simply investing more money alone isn't enough to fix our schools. We must ensure accountability for how our taxpayer dollars are spent and guarantee that they're focused on the classroom for such things as lowering class size. In addition to jobs and education, I will focus on strengthening our neighborhoods. Now more than ever, our communities are under assault, from diminishing resources, increasing crime, crumbling streets, and poor governance, increasingly at the hands of unelected emergency managers. I will fight to protect revenue sharing for our local communities so they can keep police on the streets and firefighters on the job. Also, we must fix our broken road funding system so that we can repair our damaged streets that destroy our vehicles and drive business from our state. I'm uniquely positioned to serve as state representative. I have the progressive values that we Democrats are rightly proud of, and the proven leadership and track record of results that residents deserve. As a former president of the Rochester School Board, I understand what it takes to make public schools successful. And as the chair of the Democratic caucus on the Oakland County Commission, I know how to get things done in a Republican-controlled governing body. I've never been afraid to go toe-to-toe against Republicans, but I've also never hesitated to work with my colleagues on the other side of the aisle to get things done. Most recently, I worked with Brooks Patterson to pass a resolution urging the state to continue a meaningful film tax credit program. A year ago, I successfully led a bipartisan effort to increase funding for our roads. As a state representative, I won't hesitate to call out emergency managers when they put their paychecks before the prosperity of residents. But more than anything, we need a state representative who can bring people together and stand up for our most vulnerable citizens. As a labor and civil rights attorney, I regularly fight for working families and those who have suffered employment discrimination. I am committed to putting that same fighting spirit to work for our families, our schools, and our communities. I hope you'll join with me to empower our businesses to create jobs, to invest in the education of our young people, and to strengthen our neighborhoods. Thank you for your support. Great.
That's a wrap.